The New York Bar Association just sent a scathing letter to Congress about acting Attorney General William Barr. Now, in a letter sent this week to the majority and minority leaders of the U.S. House and Senate, New York City bar leaders described public statements by the Attorney General as troubling for an official whose job is to enforce the law without bias. So let me read you some of that letter because it is very scathing. By the way, I did say acting. No, he is the Attorney General. So let me just clarify that. Now, to the letter. The duty is to act impartially, to avoid even the appearance of partiality and impropriety, and to avoid manifesting bias, prejudice, or partisanship in the exercise of official responsibilities are bedrock obligations for government lawyers. But Mr. Barr, they say, has disregarded these fundamental obligations in several public statements during the past few months. So now that's important, right? So you're not supposed to be partisan and you're not supposed to be biased. You are supposed to basically, since you are the government lawyer, you are the top lawyer of the country, to basically follow the law. That's the whole point. And they're saying William Barr has not been doing that. And so let me give you some examples, right? In an October speech at the University of Notre Dame, the letter said Mr. Barr launched a partisan attack against so-called progressives for supposedly waging a campaign to destroy the traditional moral order. The letter added that in the same speech, Mr. Barr vowed to place the Department of Justice at the forefront of efforts to resist the forces of secularization. Wow. So look, that's dangerous for one. And the reason I say that is because the government is supposed to be secular. This doesn't mean, oh, we're going to get rid of all religion. We're going to criminalize religion. No, that's ridiculous, right? No, it means that we make no law based on religion, right? Whether it be based on the Christian religion or the Muslim religion. I know, imagine everybody's hair on fire, or the Jewish religion. No, we make no law based on religion. Full stop. And so that's important, right? Now, the Constitution guarantees that we can have a free practice of religion, right? It just also says that you cannot use it to legislate other people because not everyone follows your religion. Well, that makes sense, right? And the idea behind this is it's very fundamental to freedom and equality because we have past experience of, people of a certain religion gaining power in the government and using that, power in a theocracy. And what would happen is that members of that religion would oppress members of other religions. And again, we've seen it all through history. We see it even now in theocracies, like, for example, Iran. And so, as well as the Philippines, which is Christianity. And so that causes a lot of problems. Nigeria, also majority Christian. And there are a lot of, for example, laws against gay people. And so that's what happens when you have a fundamentalist theocracy. So the founders said, well, we're going to avoid that by, yes, guaranteeing the free exercise of religion. Doesn't matter if you're Buddhist, doesn't matter if you're Hindu, doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Muslim, or Christian, or whatever the 50 different denominations of Christianity you are. Everybody gets treated the same in America. That is the bedrock of democracy, and it's the bedrock of a free and equal society. And here's William Barr saying, oh, no, we're not interested in that. We're not interested at all in being secular. And we're going to crack down on the efforts to maintain secularism. That's ridiculous, man. And look, the founding fathers, and this is one of the best things that they did, right, is guarantee that right of religion and the right to not be religious or the right to do whatever and to keep church and state separate. Secularism is literally an American value that stretches all the way back to the founding of this nation. To be against that is to be against one of the fundamental ideas of America. And so that shows you kind of what I think about William Barr. So there's more. Another example here. At a gathering of police officials in New Orleans in December, Barr had criticized district attorneys from large cities who, quote, style themselves as social justice reformers who spend their time undercutting the police, letting criminals off the hook, and refusing to enforce the law. Well, look, I guess this kind of makes a little bit more sense considering that William Barr is a lawyer. But here's the thing: social justice, right? So he's against the idea of social justice reform. You know, one of the words in there is justice. So let me give you an example of one of the people he seems to be against, and that would be Philly DA Larry Krasner. Krasner, one of those reformers. And the whole point of Krasner is to stop needlessly arresting and incarcerating people for ridiculous things, for things like possession. Now, that's a federal crime still, right? Because there is a federal ban on marijuana that is still a Schedule I drug, even if it is legal in many different states. So the federal government still looks at it and says, oh no, it's worse than heroin. It has no redeeming medical value whatsoever, and it's incredibly dangerous, right? So, but here's the thing. At the federal level, it shouldn't be a crime. That's wrong. That's wrong. And look, there are unjust laws, and by the way, laws that are technically on the books that nobody enforces or follows. And so it's kind of a ridiculous point, right? Oh, they refuse to enforce the law. Okay, well, you want to talk about undercutting law enforcement, right? And not following the law. Well, remember the Mueller report? Remember the Mueller report that William Barr had completely misrepresented, left out the 10 different counts of obstruction, and then refused to hold the president accountable and said, well, hey, that's my reading. That's my reading of the situation. No, talk about letting criminals off the hook. The whole reason William Barr got that job is because he would let Donald Trump off the hook. He literally wrote an essay saying the president is above the law. Donald Trump looked at that and was like, yes, that's my guy. Get out of here, Jeff Sessions. You suck. Recuse yourself from the Russia investigation. You suck. Get out of here. William Barr, get in here. You will protect me at all costs. That's exactly what I was looking for. That's who William Barr is. Now, related to some of those things, the Bar Association also called on Barr to recuse himself from any Justice Department matters involving the Trump administration's policies toward Ukraine. Also very important. Now, he has not, of course. The letter also took issue with the Attorney General's rejection of the findings of an internal investigation into the FBI's handling of contacts between the Trump presidential campaign and Russian officials. So there's that. And by the way, this is the most important part of this. It also called on Congress to investigate Barr, to launch an investigation to see whether or not William Barr is biased. So that's important as well, because that possibly could lead to his removal. Now, in their letter, Roger Juan Maldonado, president of the association, Stephen Kass, chairman of the association's task force on the rule of law, say that Barr's recent statements, quote, weren't further investigation by Congress as part of an inquiry into Mr. Barr's conduct as Attorney General. So they're not saying he is biased. They're saying you should do an investigation. Now, in my mind, and anybody who has two eyes and a brain and is paying attention can see that William Barr is a Trump sycophant. He is biased in favor of his boss, and that's the whole reason that he had gotten that job to begin with. That's why Trump hired him. And so that's exactly who William Barr is. He is biased, and any congressional investigation would 100% prove that without a doubt. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, You know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYT Nation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.